Okay, this is what I'm talking about here. And I found this, of course, through doing a or having a quote-unquote remote viewing experience like this here. I'm blind to the target, quote-unquote target, which is Glacier Bay. And what I'm perceiving is that there is a less dense element here that is moving. Has more dense elements on either side. And it's reminding me of plate tectonics and blah, 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 which is what this is. We have a more solid and a less solid. Less solid surrounded by more solid. These are the dimensionalities or the pressure, the pressure density that is being interpreted by my brain. That is, here's what I'm looking at. Here in my brainstem and in my midbrain, my theory is that we have in there, maybe in the dentate gyrus, a selector mechanism and a attractor mechanism. And that's how we can perceive specific ranges of time and space, quote unquote target. Otherwise, it'd be just anything random. But what we've proven in quote unquote remote viewing is that we can unrandomize it somehow. Where, as in this example, the range of time and space that I'm set to perceive is Glacier Bay right here. And what's at Glacier Bay? That these parts of my brain are interpreting that the main gestalt, the important, interesting element, is that there is a less solid moving element that has a more dense and solid element on either side of it. Like this. Reminds me of tectile or plate tectonics. That's a higher level concept. But this is the pressure density here. And how is that happening? Well, my theory, based on my exploration of what I am experiencing, and then going and researching my brain, is that here in the brainstem and the midbrain is an attractor mechanism and a selector mechanism. And somehow we have the ability to attract and select that specific range of time and space, quote unquote target. If we didn't have that, then we would just be describing anything random. There'd be complete 100% randomness, and there would be no element that would not be random. But because we have proven that we can experience non-randomness, quote unquote, the target, my theory is that somewhere in here is an attractor and a selector mechanism. But then what happens? Then we got to move to the sensory nervous system and other elements here with these really fun names that I'm finding in my research. Somatosensory system. But this is a great illustration right here of the sensory nervous system. Typical sensory system, the visual system, illustrates the classic Gray's Anatomy. There you see where it describes where the sensory is received, and then where it goes from there, which is into various elements of the brain or the nervous system, but passing through or processed through primarily the brainstem and the midbrain before it gets to the other more complex areas of the brain. That is my theory, based on my research of remote viewing, not by repeating other people's theories or what somebody told me. It's through the experience itself that is showing me the process. So, this is what's interesting. The sensory nervous system is going to pick up sensory responses to the environment, in the environment. But in quote-unquote remote viewing, that quote-unquote environment exists in some as of yet unknown state. I have my theories of what state it might exist in. Gravitational radiation, gravitational waves, possibly. And then it goes the other way, where in the natural way it goes stimulus into the brain, interpret the situation, go back, send more information, like that. But in the remote viewing, it doesn't work that way. It works the opposite way. It's the opposite way, where in the selector attractor mechanisms here in the midbrain or the brain stem is going to interpret and decode and reinterpret the state that this exists in. And in my theory right now, send those impulses into the areas of the brain or the nervous system that would naturally translate and interpret and understand those dimensional pressures and dimensional solidity, weight, position, as well as the higher level ones of visual and conceptual ideas and smells, and well, smells will be pretty low, but this is the idea, is that it has to travel down the ideogram, quote unquote, stage one. The ideogram is in a lot of remote viewing protocols. And what's happening there? Here's my interpretation of what's happening in there. Here in the brainstem or the midbrain, where the attractor selector mechanism is, automatically acquires it, automatically, or speed of light, and then sends the signal down to the hand, which hopefully is going to create a representation of it through an ideogram, and then send that back up into the brain, and where we begin to process more of the reconstructed state for which the quote-unquote target exists in, or what I call the range of time and space. That's a long way to travel to keep coming back. So there must be a better way. There must be a better way. Whereas this nervous system mechanism here, where we're relying on this sensory input to go all the way down into the arm, into the hand, produce a hopefully representation of some sense of the dimensionality of this, and then send it all the way back. Happens very quickly, but that still takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, relatively, where it is all here already, automatically.